Ella never thought she'd become the kind of woman who lived out of a duffel bag. But here she was, brushing her teeth at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, while Rhett gassed up the car and kept one eye on the road behind them. Every morning was a new motel, a new town, a new name. She was Emily in Arizona. Liz in Nevada. Claire in New Mexico. She lost count after 6 states. But somehow, it didn't feel like falling apart. It felt like freedom. Rhett wasn't much for words, but he kept her close. Always. His hand on her lower back. His jacket draped over her shoulders. His presence, grounded and fierce, was like armor. They became a rhythm, coffee before dawn, always on the road by sunrise. No credit cards. No phones. Just burner cells and cash. Rhett had rules. He followed them strictly. Ella didn't ask why, she trusted him. Still, danger wasn't what kept her awake at night. It was him. The way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. Like he couldn't believe she was real. The way he touched her like she was something rare. Precious. Every night, the lines between them blurred, until there were none. They shared more than a bed. They shared breath. Heat. Confessions whispered at 2 a.m., laughter that didn't belong in a life like his. One night, in a little roadside motel lit by a buzzing neon sign, Ella lay beside him on the bed, tracing the tattoos on his arm with her finger. "I used to want a white picket fence," she murmured. Rhett chuckled, pulling her closer. "I used to want a faster bike." She tilted her head to look at him. "And now?" He didn't answer right away. Just stared at her like she was something he'd never expected to have. "Now," he said finally, voice thick. "I want peace. With you." Her heart ached, full and sharp all at once. But peace didn't come easy for men like Rhett Maddox. It found them again, this time at a backroad gas station outside of Amarillo. Ella was inside, grabbing a bottle of water. Rhett was leaning against the car, arms crossed, watching the horizon. She saw them before he did, 2 bikes, no plates, roaring up too fast, too focused. Gunshots cracked through the silence. She dropped behind the aisle, heart in her throat. Outside, Rhett ducked behind the car, already returning fire. He moved like it was instinct. Clean. Controlled. Lethal. By the time Ella dared peek through the broken glass window, the air was thick with smoke and tire dust. The bikes were gone. Rhett's knuckles were bloody. His eyes wild. But he was alive. They didn't speak until they were 20 miles down the road, her hands trembling around the bottle of water. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I told myself I could outrun this." Ella didn't answer. Because she'd already known. That night, they didn't make it to another motel. They pulled off a dirt road, slept in the car. She curled against him, silent, shaking, not from cold, but from what could have happened. What nearly did. In the dark, she whispered, "I can't do this forever." Rhett exhaled hard through his nose. "You won't have to." She turned her face up toward his. "What does that mean?" He didn't answer. But in the morning, he was gone. She found him hours later, at a police station in a small Texas town. His jacket folded on the front seat of her car, along with a note. "I'd burn the world for you. But you shouldn't have to watch." When she stormed into the station, heart in her throat, he was already in cuffs, calm, silent, unflinching. "I'm turning myself in," he told her, meeting her eyes. "What?" she whispered. "Why?" "Because I want a life with you, Ella. Not a war. Not a lifetime of running. If I keep doing this, I'm not a man. I'm just a shadow." She tried to fight it. Pleaded. But his eyes were steady. "This is the only way," he said gently. The next year moved slowly. Ella stayed in the town where he was being held. Took a job at a small family-run clinic. Made a life that was hers again, but left space for him. She visited Rhett every week. Always on Thursdays. Always at 10 a.m. They played cards. Talked books. Argued about music. She told him about her patients. He told her about the books he was reading. He wrote poetry in a battered notebook and never let her read it, though she caught him once scribbling her name in the margins. She waited. And fought. Petitions. Letters. Legal fees. She never missed a hearing. And when the day came, 18 months later, that he was released, she was there. It was spring. The kind that smelled like beginnings. Ella stood just outside the gates, sunlight caught in her hair, a white sundress swaying gently around her knees. In her hands, she held the helmet he'd left behind, the same one she refused to let go of. Just like him. The prison doors opened with a low metallic groan. And there he was. Leaner than before. A little harder around the edges. But his eyes, those stormy gray eyes, softened the second they landed on her. His breath hitched. He took a step forward, like he wasn't sure she was real. "You still mine?" he asked, voice low and rough, like gravel smoothed by time. Ella didn't hesitate. She closed the distance between them, pressed the helmet into his chest. Always. He dropped the bag in his hand and reached for her like a drowning man finding shore. There was no kiss. No dramatic declarations. Just his arms wrapped around her and her face buried in his shoulder as the world finally felt right again. They didn't go back to her little house on the edge of town. They didn't return to the clinic or the quiet streets with their quiet lives. They rode. 2 helmets. 1 road. Her arms wrapped tightly around his waist. His hand resting over hers like a promise. No more running. No more hiding. Just the wind at their backs, the sun overhead, and the future they had fought, bled, for. Rhett Maddox had once been the devil on a bike. But Ella Carter made him believe in something better. She didn't just save his life. She gave him a reason to live it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.